Hello. Hello. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Who's going to be the first to join us today? Let me try and do something. Hello. Who's there? Knock, knock. Hello, good evening. Welcome. Hello, Yemi. How are you? Good evening. Queen Nikki, Rumi. I heard Rumi. Say hello to your Rumi. Hello, Innocent. How are you? Hi, Julie. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hello, Vivian. Ramson, hello. Hello, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. As you're coming in, guys, please share. We are going to discuss, or reflect on the series, Is Your Church a Cult? You can tell I'm excited about this. Usually, I am excited about everything, you know. I just find things exciting. I'm very enthusiastic about most things. But this particular series, yes, I relish the opportunity to discuss or reflect on it. Is Your Church a Cult? It's an amazing series. I had such a good learning time hearing what Dr. Sunday has to say, what other people have to say about the church being a cult, or the symbols or examples of churches being a cult. So I welcome also the opportunity to you guys that are watching us right now to discuss with us, to reflect on this series with us. So please join us. You can call us on Julie Ngoya's Messenger. So you can call on Julie Ngoya's Messenger. So you can join the conversation by talking to us live by going through Julie Ngoya's Messenger. Or you can write your comment down. We'll be happy to read your comment and share it with the rest of the people online. Hello, Ife. Hello, Raja. Maison. Hello, how are you? Good evening. Who else is here? I don't know this name. Esther, thank you for sharing. Guys, please share. Esther just reminded me she has already shared, and 4 other people have already shared as well. So if you haven't shared already, please do, and invite people as well. Let's discuss if your church is a cult or not, and how you would recognize if your church is a cult. Feel free, you know, we are free here, so we can discuss. Oluwatope, good evening. Thank you for joining. Hello, Charles. Good evening. Juju, good evening. Jolly, good evening. Hello, Anu, how are you? Queen Anastasia is right here beside me. Thank you. Hello, Joy. Good evening. Jess, hello. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Favor, how are you? Hi, Jane. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. And Julie has put her contact there as well, so that you can contact us to discuss this with us. So I am really excited. So, guys, let me just remind you of the series of the cult series that Dr. Sunday did, which is Your Church a Cult? It's series number 32 on YouTube. That's Sunday Adelaja Official. So go to YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official. That's series number 32. So please check it out. If you haven't listened to it already, you may do so when we finish this program, or at any time, at your own time, you can do that. Of course, after this program, you have an hour in between, and then we'll be back again with Dr. Sunday, who's starting another exciting series today, but it's a call to pastors. So please join us again, 9 p.m. Ukraine time, which is 7 p.m. UK and Nigeria time. But now, so we're going to discuss or reflect on the series, Is Your Church a Cult? This series started in June, so it was the 19th of June, and it ended, I think it was 7 in total. It ended on the 25th of June. Yes, so we had 7 titles on that. I can read the titles out for you so that you can remember to jog your memory. The titles are, the first one is just an introduction, so it had part 1 and part 2, Is Your Church a Cult? Then there's another one that says, Unto Freedom You Are Called, Galatians 5:13. And then we had, You Cannot Have Your Own Vision in the Church. It is division part 1. So the church is saying that you cannot have your own vision. That means division. So we had part 1 of that, and then we had so obviously we'd have part 2 as well. Then, is any control allowed in the church? That's a question that was asked. That was a title as well. And then we have, are you forbidden to fellowship with people outside of your church? That's another one, another signs of your church being a cult. Is there an overemphasis on submission in the church? That's another title. So those are the 7 titles of this series. Is the church a cult? And it's packed with lots and lots and lots of information on how to identify if your church is a cult, and signs and examples of churches being a cult. So this is what our discussion or our reflection will be about tonight. So please join us in this reflection. We would love you to join us. Please do. You can call Julie Ngoya on Messenger. And also you can write your comments. I will try and read out your comments. The camera is not too far from me, so I will try my best to read your comments. So please join us. Okay? So right now, I have beside me the beautiful Queen Anastasia. Right here. Hello, thank you guys. Thank you. So that's Queen Anastasia saying hello to you. And my name is Mayowa. I'm sure most of you know already. So I want to thank you again for joining us this evening to start this reflection. Is on the series, Is Your Church a Cult? And the series is number 32, and it's on Sunday Adelaja Official on YouTube. So if you didn't watch the series, or you just want to refresh your memory on the series, then go to Sunday Adelaja Official, and it's series number 32, and it had 7 titles in all. I just read out the titles, but please go ahead and check it out on YouTube yourself. So again, I want to say thank you. So let's start let's start this conversation, or this reflection. So guys, one of the things that we think would be nice for us to discuss in this, Julie is also here. Let me turn the camera so that you can say hello to Julie.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So just to let you know, guys, Julie is right here with us. So you can join, just for you to know, okay? In case you're missing her, just to let you know, she will be joining in the conversation too. So let me go to, okay, Queen Anastasia, do you want to start?
Yes, I mean, when Dr. Sunday started this series about Is Your Church a Cult, I was quite shocked at the title. I'm thinking, you know, how can a church be a cult? I mean, I know of other cults, like our parents, they worshipped voodoos, babalawos, what you call them?
Africans,
the witch doctor, idols. Yeah, those are the things I knew as cult. So when it came to the church being a cult, that was quite shocking, Queen Mayowa.
Yes. Well, I wasn't really surprised when Dr. Sunday started the series, but I was just so interested to hear and know if other people as well, if they can identify, can be truthful enough to identify if their churches is a cult. Because I coming here to Ukraine, I realized a lot of things about churches that is just not right. And I realized from watching Dr. Sunday online, and also my own conscience also ministered to me. You know, I could identify. So if Dr. Sunday is saying something that I don't identify with, obviously I wouldn't agree with it, but I can identify with it because it makes so much sense. And a lot of the things that Dr. Sunday was talking about, in particular to this subject that we're discussing, the church being a cult, is things like the way that you're treated within the church, how the church or the general overseer or the denomination treats so-called members, and how members have to be some way loyal to them. They can't go anywhere else. So it's not even about God anymore. It's about a set ministry. So that already, for me, I understand what a cult is, and I know that that is a cult. But what I didn't do was I didn't measure it, to measure churches. Just because of the word churches, I just kind of suspended my own thinking that if it's church, then it's right. I didn't measure it like Dr. Sunday, just open up the Pandora box for you to see what's happening. But of course, I can think myself and I can identify that, yes, this is absolutely a cult. And even if you look at the secular definition of what a cult is, you know that it's absolutely what Dr. Sunday is saying, and the points that he was highlighting to us were valid in most churches, what they do. So it's the issue with membership, making you feel guilty for not attending church. So if you don't attend, you backslidden. Yes. If you don't attend one day, you backslidden. They kind of accuse you rather than just ask you in a way that, you know, a concerning way that, you know, how are you? I didn't see you in church. I hope everything is okay. It's not like that. It's more like an interrogatory. They interrogate you of why you didn't come to church. We didn't see you. That's wrong. They don't even want to know why. There's no excuse. You can't give any excuse. And Dr. Sunday is talking about free will, that even God gave us free will. And you had the free will to walk yourself, to go yourself into the church, even though they might have evangelized to you or a friend might have invited you, it was still your choice to go into the church. So why is it that this membership thing is so rampant, that, you know, you're a member of this church, if you go to another church, you're considered to be not committed to that church, disloyal. Not having your own vision. Your vision has to be about the church. They have to tell you everything. You have to put God first in everything, as though you're not even putting God first. Even going to work is a problem. I mean, if you go to work on a Sunday, it's like, wow, you're not a true Christian. How could you accept a role where you work on a Sunday? How dare you do that?
Yes.
Or even miss midweek service. Even looking after your children, they will tell you that your children were given to you by God. So you shouldn't do anything with your children at you should put them as secondary. Everything is God. And what God means is that you come to church. Not even God in your own house or in your own sphere or in your own community or with other people. It means God is in here and you have to come here for you to meet that God. You can't meet that God anywhere else. So that behavior, I identify as a cult behavior. But when I was in it, I must admit, I didn't see it that way. It is okay, I need to explain to my pastor, I need to explain why I didn't come to church. He cares about me, he doesn't want me to miss anything. But most of the time, it's really a burden for me to attend some, especially midweek, even some Sundays. I have things that I would like to do on Sundays, but I have to suspend Sundays and say, because I've been told that it's dedicated to God, it should be dedicated to God, I have to go to church. So, so those are the things that Sunday was highlighting: the guilty, making you feel guilty, the ownership syndrome, that you have to be a member of the church, and you have to also be a worker as well in the church. Your work or whatever you do outside of the church does not matter. What matters is what you do in the church as a member. Just holding you bound in every way. Maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, one of the key things he spoke about is about you being afraid, to leave a church. If it's a case where there are the masses that are afraid to leave the church, then that church is a cult. And talking about being afraid, why would one be afraid to leave a church when you, like Pastor Sandy would say, use your korokoro eyes, and use your, I don't know what you can say, korokoro legs.
Yes, your two legs.
Two legs. You walked into the church by yourself, stayed, and then when it comes to leaving a church, you are intimidated. You feel that, a curse is going to come on your family, something bad will happen to your children, and if something does happen to somebody, then that is used as a point of reference.
Yes,
remember?
Yes. Yeah, pastors does that a lot, where, they will tell you that because somebody left church, they'll give you an example of somebody that left church like maybe 5-10 years ago, that she left church or she wasn't coming to church regularly and her husband died. And then after her husband died, then they will tell you something else happened to her. So it just puts fear in you. They use these fear tactics that they, so obviously you hear that and you're thinking, oh my God. And yes, maybe that person's husband died, but it must be the time for that person's husband die. Coming to church wouldn't have prevented that. There are people that comes to church and they die too. The church might not announce it, they might not do the funeral service because they don't want to be seen as people are dying in the church, but it happens. Death is a normal process, it's a normal thing. We're all going to die. But the way they'll talk about it is that I remember the pastor used to say, I used to tell so and so, you know, you have to get closer to God, you have to come to church. And then all of a sudden, the husband died. Who did they call? They still call me. You know, she doesn't come to church, and then you're thinking, you're just sitting there, you know there's no dialogue in the church. It's usually somebody at the pulpit, a pastor, a minister or some sort, and then they're just talking at you, they're saying all sorts. Even if you're processing them, you don't tend to, you know, you don't know dialogue, you don't ask questions, you don't say anything. You just accept, just soak in everything the Messiah is saying from the pulpit, and then you just sit there and, you know, you think that these things are not affecting you, but they are affecting you. Definitely. They're all getting into your subconscious, and you're and then you're acting upon them without you knowing. You know, so you should be free to worship God however you think that it fits with you. The most important thing is your relationship with God. It's how you feel, how you work with God, how you connect with God, how you hear God, how you praise God in your own way. It doesn't have to be this collective way that we all have to do this. And churches are just so full of it. We all have to come together in this way to do this in this way. If you're not, then you're not with them. Are you with us, or you are against us? It doesn't have to be like that. If God gives us free will, why is it that our churches don't want us to do things, don't want us to think and process things in our own way? They want us to do it in a collective way that suits them, that it doesn't even actually benefit you as an individual. So this series for me, it was one of the best, my favorite, maybe not the best, but it was maybe, yes, one of the best, and also one of my favorite, because I have come to discover that, you know, for me, church doesn't even allow you to think, for you to mature in yourself and be able to think. If you have to take everything to the pastor, if you have to take everything to prayers, and you don't take the right corrective actions to make things happen for yourself, it all has to be pray, you know, and then they'll also tell you, wait on God. So what we tend to do is like, we pray, and actually wait and do nothing. And, you know, that really makes my heart bleed, because praying doesn't mean, you know, yes, you should pray about things, but not then sit down and wait. And where are you waiting? In church. How are you waiting? By going to all the services and repeatedly praying about the same thing, repeatedly praying about the same thing. So I was really glad when Dr. Sunday started talking about, is your church a cult? Because 90%, well, I would say 99% of the churches that I know of, they are all cults. Either you like me saying this or not, I am sorry, okay? It's not a personal thing on you or your church, but just be honest with yourself. Be truthful with yourself and identify some of these things that Dr. Sunday raised. So I'm going to read out again the titles before Queen Anastasia talks. The title, Dr. Sunday started with an introduction on, is your church a cult? Part 1 and Part 2. And it gives points that you would identify of your church being a cult. Membership, for example. He also made it clear that membership, you know, especially if you're in Europe or in the West, membership sometimes it might be for tax purposes, just to know who's paying into what, and if you know, he understood that. But if they're making membership as in ownership, then that's where there's a problem. So if they're making this membership like, okay, they own you, you come to this church. If you're a member of this church, you cannot be in any other church on a Sunday, or you can't be in any other church in watch night. You cannot book holidays away from significant things that the church is doing or the church is doing. So maybe they have a special week or a special service, or maybe they have, I don't know, they always have all these special things in the church every month or every 6 months, or December or November or whatever. They have programs, and you want to book a holiday around then, they warn the whole congregation against it, that you have to be in so place during this time. So you have to plan your life, even if you have any life, you have to plan it around the things that the church is doing. That is a cult. Yeah? So so that's one of the things. You don't have to plan what you're doing or what you want to do with your life or your family or your work. You even book your holiday at work to the time that the church is doing a program. Why is that? That is a cult. So those are the examples that Dr. Sunday was giving. There's another title, Unto Freedom You're Called, Galatians 5:13. So this is a clear scripture you're free to do what you want to do, but if you're in the church and you don't feel free, you're afraid to do certain things, you're afraid to talk in certain ways, not because you're righteous, it's because you think that something is going to strike you down when you think or say anything about your pastor, about your church, or about the ministry. You have to be like by force loyal to the church. Nothing they do is ever wrong. Everything has to be right. You can't, and even if somebody says something, a friend of yours says something negative about your church, you have to fight them to show that, oh, you're a true loyal person to that church. Again, that is a cult. Okay? So then there's another one, which is you cannot have your own vision in the church. It is division. So this is very rampant in many churches where you have to pass everything through the leadership of the church. Everything have to go through the GO or the apostle or the evangelist. I don't know whatever title they give themselves. You have to take everything to them first before you can be sanctioned or authorized to go ahead with it. And you cannot have your own vision. So let's say you're in the church and you have a vision for ministry or something. No. You're evil. God cannot speak to you. God only speaks to that 1 or 10 people at the top. You are like, you're just below God's standard. God doesn't talk to you. God only talks to them, the leaders. Queen Anastasia is too quiet for me. She's agreeing with me, but she's not saying anything.
No, it's
you've got to say something.
No, it's
I can talk about this topic a lot. I'm not into churches, so go ahead.
Guess what? You know what? As she was talking, I just feel like crying. Why I don't want to cry is because we're talking about the Lord Jesus Christ, who died and purchased his church with the precious blood of Jesus. But yet, many of his children or the bride is in bondage. We were bought for freedom. And this is a very, sometimes, when I'm so overwhelmed like that, I'm just very quiet, and because I'm just full of emotion. But I have seen time and time again where the word of God may come out very subtle. It's like disloyal. We may not be told that you're being disloyal, but it may be said in a certain way where you feel you're in bondage, that you don't have a say. You cannot voice your opinion for fear of something. For example, something bad may happen to your children, or something bad will happen inside your home, or may happen to you on your way to work. And so what do? You subject yourself to this so-called loyalty. And it is so unright. Even the unbelievers, I don't think they do that in the office setting. So why is it that we took our 2 koro eyes? Let's think about this. We are the ones that looked at with our 2 koro eyes and our 2 feet, walked into the church. So how come that many of us subject ourselves under this bondage, and that there's no freedom as per the day that you work, or what you want to say, or how you want to do things? How come that we subject us? That's my question to you. Why are you subjecting yourself to this bondage? I'd like to put that out to you. Why are you doing that?
Yes. I think that's a very good question that Queen Anastasia have asked. And if the people out there, this program is actually like a dialogue program. You don't have to just listen to us and let us talk. Please feel free to call Julie Ngoya on Messenger, or on the other hand, you can write your comment down. I will read it out. If there's any comment that is related to this or anything that you want to say that we can share with other people. Absolutely, that's a good question. Why do you keep on subjecting yourself? Because I know that most of the churches that I know about, maybe 99%, I must say, they are cults in the way that they do things and the way that they treat their members. Actually, members should be treated with the gold of, treated well, with respect, not to be subjected to leadership. Because you came there by yourself, like Queen Anastasia said, and Dr. Sunday always says as well, you walked into the church out of your free will. So why is it that you're panicking, you're worried, you're not going to church today, something is going to happen to you? So, and if you identify that your church is a cult, why do you continue to go? What is the reasons why you're still persistent, or still continue to go? Is it still the fear? Is it because you've been doing this for a long time? Because this is another thing about human being. If we've been doing something for a long time, we've invested our time, our energy, our resources on those things, you just don't want to let go. You just feel like everything that you've invested on it, if you just let go like that, you give it up, then you're wasting those things. Those things are gone for nothing. But I can assure you, I don't think that that's the case. I think everything is about learning, it's about growth, it's a process. So even if you come to a realization of something and you realize that something that you used to do wasn't right, you shouldn't have to hold on to what you've done in the past for those things. Free yourself, liberate yourself to do other things, to move on, to step away, to give yourself a better picture, because sometimes if you're too close to something, you're used to it, it's like this is your lifestyle, you don't want to let go of it. And I'm not undermining, what you've done or what you think you should, what you think you should continue to do, but you really need to give yourself a break to get the new information, to process the new information, to analyze your situation in relation to what you're doing, and then make new decisions, So I think that's really important.
And I have another question, because I believe that asking questions helps you to think deeply about what you're doing. So another question I have for you is, are you in a real relationship with God, with the church that you say you're subjecting yourself to? Are you really in a true relationship? Do you feel free in your relationship with God? Or are you just serving the church? Because there's a difference there, right?
Yes.
Are you in a relationship with God?
Yes.
That's very important.
Yeah, it is. I think actually Queen Anastasia is hitting a lot of key words and hitting the point here on the head, a nail on the head, because she's saying here that is your service and your activities in the church your relationship with God, or do you really truly have a relationship with God? Not those activities that you perform, but your own relationship. Can you actually look at God face to face and feel, reflect with him, talk to him, let him minister to you, let him hold your hand, you hold his hand as well. Have this thing that, you're connected with him. Like when you're connected with somebody, even though you don't see them and then they just call you, you just call them and say, right, I miss you. If you have best friends or you have somebody that you're a sibling that you're very close to, you find that, you can just call each other. You don't have to be going to do some servicing, for them and going to a location to render that service before you feel like you've accomplished something with that person. You can be rendering the service wherever you are. You can be loving the person you do. No justification needed. It's almost like it's an unconditional, but you by your free will choose to put the condition of calling, going to see them, booking time with them, with love, without any stress, without any guilt, without any condemnation. All those kind of efforts that you put into going to church, is it actually hindering you from having a true relationship with God? Because if you feel like you have to do something, you have to go to church, you have to go into service, you have to take some mantle, you have to buy oil, you have to do this, you have to. That cannot really come out of love. Love cannot really stay there anymore because it's not free will and it's not unconditional. It's based on their condition. So how can that really be love? And God is love. And if there's a condition, how can it be love? And cult is usually on this type of conditions. I think somebody wrote something, so I'm going to read it out now. Yes, it's thoughtful writer says, yes, Mayowa, I am a product of one of the list. I have a completed project that I did with my own money, resource, and etc. Since last year. I'm still waiting for the GO for approval till now. Wow. Anyway, I have spoken to my legs. I am off for the best. Absolutely. Thank you, thoughtful writer. Well, it is shocking. I mean, hearing about the project and you're waiting for the GO. I mean, where does God come into this, thoughtful writer?
Thoughtful writer, why are you waiting for the GO, for the project? Why are you waiting for him? What did God say to you? What did he tell you? Another question I have for all of us is that when you're in church, whose picture do you see? Do you see and interact with the picture of Jesus, or all you hear and see is, the pastor? And I'm not coming against any pastor or anyone, but I'm saying that who is the essence of the message that you're listening to? Is it always about the pastor, or is it about developing a true relationship with God?
Yeah, I think this is where God is being relegated, and this is just pure manipulation. Thoughtful writer, I think you shouldn't even have to wait. If you've got copies of the project and you haven't submitted everything to them, please go ahead and do what you need to do. It's like God has put something inside of you and you're waiting for somebody else to approve, even though God has put it inside of you to operate in that level.
Approved you already.
So he has approved you already, so you're waiting for somebody else to approve you. What if that person dies? So what are you going to do? Are you going to wait for the next GO to approve? It's really, we really need to start thinking ourselves now, because enough is enough of what we do to ourselves, and it can't be these people's fault. I think it was Queen Nikki that said that, though, that if we are not buying what they are giving us, we're not buying the ideologies and the system, and we're not conforming to those systems, nobody is going to hold us bound. And the question that Queen Anastasia asked earlier is so valid, that why are you doing it? What is the reason? If you truly believe that God is the one that you serve, that's the only person you need to answer to. You don't need to answer to any human being. They don't have any power over God. Only person that has the power is God. So this is the same thing as far as I'm concerned with witchcraft, because I don't get it. I just feel like it's the same with witchcraft. With witchcraft, you're afraid of witches, you're afraid of this, you're afraid of that. And churches, what's the difference? You're afraid of, challenging pastors, challenging the ministry, challenging anyone. What's the difference with that? So really you need to take ownership as sons and daughters of God. And if God sends you something, gives you an idea, sends you a message, let God be the pinnacle of that. Nobody else. You don't have to go through anybody. The worst they can say is that don't come to our church anymore. Thank you. That's what you would say. You just go and then move on. Patrick, thank you. Good day. Onyeye says people have been terribly conditioned in Nigerian churches. Their brain are working upside down. Unfortunately, Onyeye, I would agree with you. Thoughtful says loads of protocols to pass through in the church, and they are mostly principalities, hurdles, and barriers. Isn't that saddening? It is saddening, but you're allowing it to happen because you don't have to conform to it. God has given you freedom. He has died for you. And then Onye said, saying hello, thank you very much. Thank you, Informer, thank you very much. So guys, please continue to write your comments here and share it with us, so that we can also share our thoughts with you. We will anyway share our thoughts with you, but please continue to write. We have here Julie. So Julie, I'm sure you want to say something about this.
Yeah, so I was thinking exactly about what Thoughtful Writer actually just said about the protocols and the fact that everything is always so scripted. I realized this only because there was an instance where in the previous company that I worked in, there was a problem with a person who lost everything on a trip that we all went through, a company trip. She lost everything, all her money, her credit cards, everything basically. And she wrote an email to ask for help, if someone could help her, or with a place to sleep for the night. She didn't even ask for anything. She just said, I need a place to sleep because I don't have my keys, I don't have anything, my phone. So one person in the company then suggested for all of us to donate at least $1 so that she could have enough money to, just get started and at least until she has blocked her credit cards and all of these kind of things. And everyone just said, yes, amazing, of course, because all of us have $1, right? All of us have €1 or £1, so we can all give that money. And within a few minutes, she just got over 5,000 even, because at that point we were, I think, about 2,000 something employees, and she got about $5,000 dollars donated to her from the company. And this made me think, wow, it made me really realize, because I was thinking, who does that? And why would you do that? And looking at this example, there's one thing that also happened in Dr. Sunday's church, which is when someone came to give a testimony about the fact that they're distributing books in prisons and, you know, helping people in these institutions, and that they were lacking books in order to teach people, but also because they have libraries, and people were always, the prisoners also, they were taking all these books, and the books were, there were no books anymore. So they told us. And so, you know, Dr. Sunday was inspired by this and said, wow, why don't we help you get the books? So people in the congregation started coming up and giving donations, so they could either go and buy the book, because they had a stand where you can buy the books. So people went to buy the books and give it to the person who was in need of the books. Some people came to donate money so they could buy the books that they needed. And this was in the church service on a Sunday, you know, where you would expect a normal service, worship, praise, and then the announcements, and then the word of the day, and then later again worship or praise, and then everyone goes home. And I was thinking, wow, why is this not happening in church usually? Why is this so uncommon? Because I was so surprised. Why am I so surprised? Because if we are the people who are supposed to, you know, be the light of the world, we are supposed to represent God, who is love, to the people. Is this not the very way for us to demonstrate that love, to donate in that very same moment? But you know, the Christian churches that we used to would say, oh, let's just pray for this person so God may bless the person, and, you know, your breakthrough or your deliverance or your money will come. And nobody would ever think about giving something to the person. Maybe they would even say, oh, is anyone who can give, please write down the number of the brother or the sister, and then call her later, and then you can give what you want, or pray, or visit the person, or whatever it is. But in that very moment, you know, just breaking through the tradition of protocol, blessing the person with what you can give the person at that moment, with your heart, with what you have, out of your heart, you know, not because someone said, oh, give this amount of money, or give this, or do this. Out of your heart, you were able to go and bless a person in a very practical way in church service on a Sunday. To me, this was just mind-blowing. And I realized that, wow, this is church. You know, this is what church is supposed to be. It's not that we are going to go and do what is written somewhere on a paper, and, you know, do it because what? Because someone said it? Because someone made this program up? Why don't we work based on the heart where God lives? You know, if God lives in you, and he's talking to you, and he's real, and he's new every morning, why do we do the same thing all over and all over again, and we disregard the inspiration of the Holy Spirit? So for me, this was really revealing, and I had to confess that I was also part of this. I was part of, I mean, and I know that, you know, not every pastor is like this, or people are not doing this always because they intentionally don't want to listen to the Holy Spirit, or because they, you know, they're evil or something. But I think there's just a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of ignorance about who God really is, and that he's not, I mean, obviously there has to be order in the house of the Lord, right? But this does not mean that we should not be who we are, you know, with God when we are in church. That we should not behave the way we usually behave because we are in front of God. Because this is falsehood, this is hypocrisy, you know? So I think this really opened my eyes to the fact that we have to be who God made us to be, and the people that are walking with God. We can't be two different people when we're in church and outside of church. And we should be able to have a relationship with God in church as well. And, you know, when we follow these instructions or these protocols, what we do is we submit to something other than God, you know, because God didn't give us an order on how to start the church service. You know, this is when you have to start, this is what comes afterward. God didn't give this to us. We came up with this, obviously, to create some sort of order, but we shouldn't make this the center of our gathering. So, yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, Julie. Thank you so much, Julie. That was a really good point. I think I got a few things from Julie, but one pivotal thing that I got from her is that the order of church as well, that shows some sort of cult, because everything is set. even to testimonies. The testimonies that are given from years ago that is banked and then shared again, recycled based on the season. So that, and you know, Julie said something that the word of God or God is new every day. So why is it that even Sunday service, yes, there has to be order. She pointed it out, but we're so rigid. You know, that's a sign of cult. Things have to be done in this way. You have to be on this line. You have to do this, how, like this. Yes, their protocol, their processes, we agree about that. But there's no room, even if there's challenges that people are facing, because we have to do service, we overlook those challenges. We don't even notice those people that have problems in church. Yes, the church service, we sing praise and worship. After praise and after prayer, we pray. You know, somebody might even be beside you crying. It's like everything just have to go like clockwork, like we've planned. We don't do anything. We can't even, if something is wrong with you, that's your problem, you know. The service still has to go on. We have to do this, the things we have to do. And Julie gave an example of her workplace that, you know, somebody lost a wallet or something happened and they did collection for the person. They met a need at the point of the need. How many times people will come and give testimony or they need something in church? We don't rally around them. We go through their protocol. It has to go through the GO before we give money in the church. Somebody has to sanction it, not even when you see a problem. I'm not naive. I know that in Africa, a lot of people come lying. And I've heard of so many lies. My wife died, my husband did, and it's not true. They're just trying to extort money. But the majority, that's not the norm. The majority of people have needs. We don't meet those needs. And Julie gave the example, and the example is in the church that we saw here. The few times that I went to church, I think they were doing some sort of special service. And in the church, the guy came and he was giving a testimony about the prison service and what he was doing with Dr. Sunday's book and how he's changing lives in the prison. And what did people do? Everybody rallied around him and they started buying one book, two books. I even remember, at first I was sitting there and I was thinking, why is everybody going to like the bookshop and then coming back with books and just dropping it by the guy's side and dropping books, and the books are piling up and piling. I was thinking, what's going on? And then I just clocked on because I'm not used to that, you know. The service didn't go on. We didn't do the normal clock service. The testimony went on, and you know, what were people doing? Everybody was taking money out of their pocket, buying books and giving him. And he was so touched, like, wow, thank you so much. Even we did. I think we did. I think, yes, Julie. Yeah, we did, right? Yeah, we also went to books. We're so excited, like, hey, you want books? Yes. We also went, we purchased some book, and when we took it to the guy where he was standing for his ministry, a need was met, and it was met instantly. You don't have to go through GO, CEO, or whatever O's that you need to go to, and you did what you had to do. Everybody did the right thing, and the church, the leadership of the church accommodated it as well. They didn't say, oh, we need to check, oh, you need to come and show us, the books need to go through the ministry, they need to do it. Nothing like that. What needs to be done was done at the appropriate time. And I think this is the point Julie was making. So I appreciate that. She wants to say something else. Okay.
Yes, I also want to really make emphasis on the fact that this is not about Dr. Sunday, you know? No, it is not about, it's just because I understand that it can be easily misunderstood. But that's why I gave the example of my company. You know, this is the first place where I saw this happening. And in my spirit, you know, I knew that this is love. This is what God wants us to do. But connecting this to a church, to me, this was not anything normal. This wasn't something that I would naturally do. So when I now heard about this teaching, this revealed to me that, wow, you know, church is not necessarily about being in a building. It's not because you're going to church that you're doing the right thing because you're in this building. It's about what is in your heart. What are you doing? How are you manifesting the goodness of God through your actions that you do every day, you know, every day, but also in church. So if I now am in a company where, you know, I'm acting based on God's mercy, based on the love of God for the people, I'm also supposed to do this in church, you know, because we're representing God everywhere. It's not just because you're in church that you have to do this, and when you're outside of church, you have to do this. We are always God's representatives. And I'm saying that when you're in church, you recognizing that you are in a cult or not is very important, because you have to observe the environment that you are in. You cannot restrict yourself or the God in you because you are in church.
Because it's called a
Because
church.
exactly, because it's called the church. You know, you have to let God do what God has to do everywhere you are. And I realized that when you're not able to help a person to act based on the need that is in front of your eyes because you're in church and because you have to follow a protocol, that's not a church to me. This is a cult to me. So I just wanted to clarify.
I think you're absolutely right, Julie. I think Julie is totally right there, and this is probably in response to a comment there. I will read the comment out in a bit, but I would like Queen Anastasia to speak because I can feel that she wants to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say that, as Julie was talking, I was thinking, imagine, you're in an organization and you had all these limitations there. Would you stay there? That's the question. Like, would you really stay with all these constricting?
No, people do stay because they get paid, but the church is not even paying you, and you're staying there. Yes, you are in an organization. You do leave. You do stay.
You think about it, right?
You think about it. You think, okay, I'm getting paid, so I can put up with this for a while. But the truth of this matter is that you're not getting paid. You're the one paying them. So why are you staying there? I don't know. Why are you staying? You don't need to stay. And God is not going to strike you down. It's actually worse when your heart is not at peace, not in love, not in harmony. That is enough strike down for me than me leaving and then being struck by something. Being struck by something is secondary. But being in a place where there's no love, there's no respect, there's fear, there's worry that, they're threatening you indirectly with something bad that is going to happen to you if you stop coming to church. That on its own is like a no-no. It's like a no-no. You can't do things freely. That is no-no. Not that you're doing things freely anyhow, like you have no respect, no manners, but just not being able to freely love, accept, and appreciate God. Then, that alone is striking you down. I don't know what you call strike down, because it's holding you bound. So, I don't know.
And I have this scripture here, and I'm
Go ahead.
In
share your scripture.
Galatians 3, 1-3, it says, "Oh, foolish Galatians." Imagine.
Yeah.
Who said that? Daddy G said it. He said, "Oh, foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you?" Now, can you imagine the whole Almighty God saying that you, or maybe me, we've been bewitched? Shouldn't that be a point of work to get you thinking that, hang on a second, if Daddy God, that's how I call him though, if he says that, "Oh, foolish Galatians," maybe you need to stop and ask yourself, am I being foolish in where I am? Or am I being bewitched? It says that who has bewitched you that you should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Jesus Christ was clearly portrayed among you as crucified. And there's another scripture I'm very, very excited to read, which is Galatians 4:9. "But now, after you have known God, or rather are known by God, how is it that you turn again to the weak and beggarly elements to which you desire again to be in bondage?" Jesus paid a huge price to take us out of bondage. So why are we subjecting ourselves back into bondage? It does not make sense.
No.
Queen M.
No. It doesn't make any sense at all. And, sometimes, everyone can be forgiven. Even I can be forgiven because I have done these things. I'm telling you as well. We've all, in some ways, somehow been in this bondage. But when you come to the realization of truth, or you come to truth, you need to release yourself. You need to free yourself. I am not going to force you. I'm just sharing an opinion. Dr. Sunday is sharing an opinion. Queen Anastasia is sharing an opinion. Julie is sharing an opinion with you. But let the truth minister to you, and then you do the right thing. And don't do things out of fear. Do it out of love. Do it that you love God and you know that God will still be with you, regardless if you're going into a building or you're not going into the building. So that's what is important. I'm going to read some of the comments. Terry is saying, "I love this. God bless you." I think that was when Julie was speaking. Vivian Saylor says, "Right, that is not the norm." Yes, thank you very much. Monica says, "Hello, Queen A," and thank you very much. And Monica, how are you? And David says, "I'm very late. Can I get an update, please?" Oh, David, we're discussing the series on cult. You can watch this again, but we're discussing this series Dr. Sunday did sometime in June on is your church a cult or not? Is your church a cult? So you're welcome to join us in the discussion. You can either call or leave your comments here. So we're talking about the signs that church is a cult and what churches do that makes them a cult. And then Thoughtful Writer wrote, at Queen Julie, you're very right. I don't, it doesn't happen in the church at all. Yeah, it doesn't happen in the church. I was once like that and nobody supported. Even the pastor found it difficult to encourage the members to support me. He was thinking that if they do, the offering wouldn't be fat as it's supposed to be. Oh my God. Very malicious people. Anyway, I don't run away. Well done, Thoughtful Writer. It sounds like there's been a lot of abuse in church. Congregation will contribute. They'll have challenges. Nothing is going to happen. A cult, because everything you need to do is just about the church. It's not about the human being in there. Vivian says, right, we must show the love. And there are many ways to love who God loves. Absolutely. And God loves everybody. Stella is saying hello to Julie. Hello, Fisayo, how are you? David says, I don't think it's out of place to be accountable to your church and to submit under your pastor. Psalm 107:17 says something. Can somebody look at that? God can send a man ahead with a mandate. Okay, that's fine, David. Nobody is even going to stop you from submitting and doing whatever you want to be doing, being accountable to the man of God. If that's your choice, is what you want to do, and you're happy to continue to do so, please go ahead. Nobody is going to stop you. We're just giving you an alternative so that you know you are a son as well. You don't have to be under anybody. God still loves you. That's what we're talking about here. And you having to be in control of somebody else's will or somebody else's demand for you. That's what we're talking about here. Not what you want for yourself. Is that what you want for yourself? Then that's your free will too. Go ahead. You have the right to choose for somebody to submit under you, or to submit under somebody. I think Julie wants to say something, but can I read this next one, or do you want to say it first?
Yeah, I want to say it to the comment.
Okay.
I just want to say that, I agree that you can be under a pastor, especially because, look, we are all here and we are also with a pastor who has people under him and everything. This is not about saying you should never be led by a pastor or should not have an authority above you, but it's about not suspending your mind when doing so, and that you're still a human being and an individual who has to take your decisions by yourself and who is not supposed to put a man of God or another person above God. I think it's really important to make that difference, because we can easily get hooked to the idea that everything we have to do has to be approved by a pastor. And we've had example about that, where people, even when they travel, the pastor has to allow it or not, or whatever they want to do in their marriage, the pastor has to allow it, and all these kind of things where you don't need your pastor to interfere in every single area of your life, and especially not to get his approval for you to live, because obviously if you are under the leadership of someone, just like you're at work, it is a good way also for you to learn how to lead people, because if you are not someone who can be led, then you're probably not someone who should lead either. But you should still be able to be your own individual person with your own individual vision and your own individual projects and ideas that are coming from God and that you are doing based on what God has inspired you to do and what he has told you to do, not always and necessarily only by what the pastor is telling you to do. So that's what I want to say.
Okay, thank you very much. So David, we were just trying to look at what Psalm 107:17 says, but I think you might mean 107:7. I'm not a pastor. I don't really know much about Bible, and I just know to read Bible and try to understand and use it as a reference point. But 107:17, like you said that some became fools through their rebellious way and suffer affliction because of their iniquities. So rebellious and iniquities. I think somebody mentioned about being rebellion. I will read that at the top. And iniquities. But who are you rebellious to? Were you rebellious to God Almighty or to another person, another human being? So you need to, think about that. I'm not really like a pastor, so I'm not a pastor at all. And I'm just like a normal person. So I don't want to go into Bible debate because I probably won't be telling you the right thing, but I can use my common sense here. This is not being rebellion as in not listening to another human being, but it's listening to God, rebellion to God's principle, rather than rebellion to another human being and what that human being is telling you. The same God that created that human being created you too, and is giving you everything that you need, every power that you need. So you need to exercise that rather than worrying about other people. And then we have David here says, I don't think it's out of place to be accounts. Okay, the same thing that you're saying. Okay, that's fine. I think I don't think it is out of place to be accountable to church. And so yes, it's the same thing. Okay. And then we have Catherine saying this. Girls, some of your assertions are absolutely untrue and misleading and lopsided. I love Dr. Sunday and respect him, but is Dr. Sunday the only man of God? I disagree. Please think deeply before you talk, girls. He is not God, and his positions are not final, and his position are not final. I think that's what you meant to say. Pastor Sunday, this and that. Okay. Catherine, I don't know if anyone wants to say something.
I already said mine.
Okay, I think Julie's already said hers in terms of what you said because she read it earlier. And for me, first of all, it's up to you to agree on what we say or not. You have your own free will, as we're saying here. This is the point of this whole conversation, is that you are free to think and say what you want. God put it in you, and it is your responsibility to take hold of it. You know, you are also empowered, so that's okay. In terms of Dr. Sunday, he's our point of reference, because this is, first of all, this is this channel, or should I say his page. So we are having this discourse on his page. And secondly, he's a good example to us. We made that choice ourselves.
Yes.
We came at our own free will. We made the choice. It's a good example to us. We don't see many people that are like that. Many individuals are like that. And he's giving us the freedom to speak as we wish.
Yes.
You know, we're here. We're doing this program. He's not even here. So we're choosing to do what we want to do. You might find it to be misconstrued in the way that you're viewing it from where you are. But again, you have your right to be wrong as well, and also to be right. So we will give you that right, we'll give you that privilege, and also the privilege to write your comment, and also we can read it out. So thank you for that comment, but none of these things seem likely. I think that the wires are crossed somewhere, and we will make a reference to who we want to make reference to, because that's the person that we see as the example. Okay? So thank you, though, for your comment. We appreciate it. Then we have Delphine that says, could you also help understand what rebellion is, and how can one answer to a divine assignment without being rebellious? Okay. So Julie just reminded me to encourage everyone to listen to this series themselves. So please go ahead and listen to this series so that you can make your own judgment. Please don't take our words for it. We're just sharing an opinion. We really want you to use your own and our reflections. So we really do want you to make your own opinion, make up your own mind, and have your own reflection. Make your own decision for your life that pleases God, that pleases you yourself as well, without the manipulation. So in terms of rebellion, Delphine, rebellion for me, I just think that it's not the same as you making up your own mind and deciding not to follow what another person tells you to do. You know, somebody can share an opinion with you, or share a thought, or even advise you. You don't have to follow that advice, and it doesn't mean that you're being rebellious. I think rebellion is to do with God's principle, and you making a conscious decision that you're not going to follow God, Almighty God's principle. But even at that, God gave you free will. So you can even do that if you want to. If you decide that you don't want to follow God's principle, then that's fine. You know, so that's really up to you. In terms of divine assignment, I think all I know is that everybody, God has put a purpose inside of them to come here on earth to fulfill that purpose for him, because God cannot do everything. So he's already inbuilt you before you were born. He knew you. You know, he knew everything about you. So he's put everything in you. Empower yourself. Don't be manipulated with these divine assignments and this and that. Yes, you do have an assignment, you have a purpose, but you can do that. You're empowered also by God to carry out that assignment. So don't be afraid in terms of rebellion or what. If you're following God's principle, nothing to be worried about. And even if you do fall wayside on some of the principle, pick up yourself, ask God for forgiveness, and move on.
Yes. I want to say something. In all that has been said in this last, I think, 50-something minutes, this thing about cult or no cult, whatever, is all about your relationship with God. He has He has purchased you with a price, and He wants to have this relationship with you. So once again, I'm going to ask you this question. Are you in a place where you can develop a relationship with Him? Are you in that place? That you can get to know Him more and more? That you can follow, like someone was asking, the assignment that He has given you, that you can discover your purpose in life? Are you in that place? Or are you in a place of bondage or fear? Because the Bible tells us that perfect love casts away all fear.
Yeah.
So if you're in a place that is fear, then you need to ask yourself that, is this the place where God wants you to be? Queen?
Yeah. Absolutely. So you hear that. It's all about a relationship with God. Even church was to educate you about having a relationship with God, empowering you to know what God has done for you so that you can go out there in your field, in your sphere, and be of God there and till that ground on here on earth. So all these activities and churches, and you have to do this, and you have to be obedient, you have to be this way or this way inclined, is subjugating you, is suppressing you and suppressing the God's greatness that He's giving you as an individual, and is subjecting you to look upon one man or two men or leadership only, or one congregation or one denomination or whatever you call them. So it's time that you start coming out as kings and queens, as real sons and daughters of God, and stop limiting yourself to this, you're rebellious, or you're this, or you're that. You're not. You're a child of God. You are a son of God. You are a daughter of God.
Right.
God loves you. Nobody is better than the other person. Yes, we all have different strengths. There's certain things that Queen Anastasia can do that I cannot do. So we serve. She serves me with what she can do, and I serve her with what I can do. Likewise, everybody else. So if these people are skilled in certain ways and you respect them, good. No need to disrespect them, but also believe in yourself and believe in the God that created you too. Don't just leave yourself to be an entity while they are the entity. And it's the same God that created you. You really need to question that. So that's where we're going with this. Please question it. We are going to continue on reflection. This is not the only reflection that we're going to do on this series, Is Your Church a Cult? So we would like you to join us. We would really like you to have this conversation with us and say what you want to say. You can see there's some people that disagree with us very much, but we welcome them. So please, we will welcome you too. So feel free, be free. And Delphine says, thanks a lot. Only the truth can set free. Keep dishing out the truth, and the Lord will keep blessing you. Thank you again, Delphine. We appreciate your comments. So guys, we will be back in just under an hour now. We will be back, so please join us again. Dr. Sunday is going to start a new series, and this is calling on all pastors. So be brave, okay? Be brave, be courageous. Go and call your pastor and say, Pastor, you're really my pastor. You love me like I love you. Please, you must listen to Dr. Sunday at 7 p.m. UK and Nigeria time, and that's 9 p.m. Ukraine time. Please call him or her. Call your leadership. Tell them to listen. Yes, this is a discourse. They shouldn't be afraid. They shouldn't be intimidated. Dr. Sunday is having a discourse with them. Let's put this out in the open. And then let's see who is true. Let the truth take over. So guys, it's such a pleasure to be with you as always. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mayowa. And and we had Julie, May Julie right here. Again, we'll be back shortly. Please join us. We'll see you at 9 o'clock Ukraine time, 9 p.m. Ukraine time, 7 p.m. UK and Nigeria time. New series is starting. Da, 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 da. See you later. Thank you, thoughtful writer. Bye. Bye.